Alright guys, welcome back. This is Jared at 3Cs. This is Braxton, and today we're going to put a 105 kit in his new 2025 GasGas MC85. If you have a 25 KTM or Husqvarna, it's the same kit. The directions even show it right there. So it's kind of cool, same kit. You guys can follow along. So pipe, gas tank, and seat are removed, but we've not drained the coolant yet, which we'll do in the video here. But come over to the counter and let's show you some of the stuff that we've got here. So IMS tank, seat, gas tank, or pipe. So that's all the stuff there. This is the new 105 kit. This is for the 2025. So I opened up his, if you look over here, this is his 2023 kit. We took it back off that bike because we were selling it. What's cool is that this cylinder is identical to the 2025 cylinder. And I pulled all these part numbers and I was looking at all this stuff. The head cover, and ECU are all different, but the piston, so I'm going to grab, yeah, you can pan over there. And I'm going to bring over, this is the piston out of the 2023, 2024 kit. It's exactly the same part number, which is cool. So there's the official KTM part number. And the spark plug is different. So this is the same spark plug that is in the 85 version of this bike. They just give us another one. So piston, spark plug, head, the new dome for the head right here. This is the new part number as well. I think the cylinder is exactly the same, which I'm pumped about. Needle bearing, main jets, pilot jets, needle, ECU. This is different for 2025 as well. Power valve cover, gasket, inner outer O-ring, spark plug cap O-ring, and then spark plug dust boot. So coming down this way, this also came in the box. So that was what came in the box. And then we just bought this in the high-low 105. This is your timing and decking tool. In the past, I've just guessed with Braxton's bikes because I always had, when we bought his bike, it had the 105 kit already on it, and I would just measure the old base gasket because, come back over here real quick, they give you 4 different thicknesses for the base gaskets. So as you can see, perfect example, I left part of that base gasket stuck there. So if you're doing this at home for the first time and it's already done, you can just simply measure the thickness of that and copy it. But because this is an all new build, all new cylinder height, we don't know, we bought the tool. This is for the decking, and then this is for the timing. This is the timing portion, so I don't know how much it was, maybe 20 bucks. So some news and notes over here is that we ran a 142 main and a 42 pilot in this old kit, and I'm probably gonna match that for this just because I need a starting point. And if you guys are at home and you want to, okay, so when you're buying these 105 kits, this inner O-ring, when you guys go to rebuild your motor, because both of these are old pistons sitting here, when you go to rebuild this, you will not, it's really hard to find this inner O-ring because it's bigger than the 85 because the cylinder's wider. So I went to Lynx Racing, this is the company, and I'm going to zoom in to that part number down there, trying to save you guys time at home. Hopefully some of that helps. So that is that inner O-ring. I bought like apparently 4 of them that day. So I have 3 more left. So I can do 3 more top-end rebuilds because it's really hard to find that part number on the KTM website. You can't find it under the 85 listing. So hopefully that piece of tidbit information, it would have saved me a lot of time knowing that as well. So let's kind of review all the old stuff, jets, some tools, 105 kit. We're going to put engine ice back in this bike when we go to put it back together. And we have liquid moly as the oil, but this label fell off the front. So that's the 2-stroke oil. My last tidbit for you guys is at Lowe's, if you guys are trying to find some of these bikes, and maybe not this GasGas in particular, but some of these torques on some of these new bikes, especially the betas that we sell, this is the tamper-proof torques. You can see it's got the hole in the middle of it. Really hard to find these. So I found this kit at Lowe's. It's nice to have. So if we're missing stuff, it's in the other toolbox in the van. So that's my rundown. So the first thing we're going to do is the compression test because I'm curious. It's got 2.6 hours on it. I just want a base. I just want to know what a stock 85 motor should have in it. So we're going to pull the spark plug and we'll do a compression test right now. Go ahead and go. And again. What? Yep, go ahead. One more time. Okay. Yeah, about 120 again. So our baseline at home, 120 PSI, and I could feel a little bit blown out somewhere over here. So hopefully it's just for us to know. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to drain the coolant. So what we're going to do, got the T-handle, and we're going to pull this. And typically not a lot of the coolant comes out yet because I have not cracked the coolant cap yet. So right there. And then I'm gonna crack the coolant cap up top, and you guys don't have to see that, but you'll notice, oh, probably should have this ready. This new cap's a little bit different design. I'm not used to it yet. And inevitably, you're probably not gonna catch it all. It's just part of it. Now that the coolant's drained, we're gonna remove this upper coolant hose here. So now that the coolant hose is removed, we're gonna remove the upper engine mount that's onto the cylinder here. This is where that T45 comes into play. So the motor mount on this side, it does have a 13 mil socket, and then it is a 45 on this side. So we're gonna crack this loose so we can remove both pieces. With the motor mounts removed, we're gonna remove the vent tube on the power valve. So that just kind of slides off the top there. I'm gonna protect this from dirt, but we only rode one day with this bike. And so if you push your finger on the back side, it releases this clip, drops it down, and this is just like a wire holder up underneath here, so that should give me a little bit more room to work if I can sneak those wires up like that. That's the maximum room from frame to engine. So now what we're going to do is remove the power valve covers. There's two on this. There's one on each side, and these are a T25 Torx. All right, we're going to pull the cover off on this side. Now that gasket, it can't come out yet because our power valve arm is still, the ball socket here is still on. So that's going to be stuck behind there, and that's okay. We'll come off of that in a minute. Let's go to the other side, and we'll get the power valve cover off on that side. We're going to get this cover off so we can get to that base bolt there on the cylinder. Just these 3 bolts. We're going to get these out now. With the power valve covers out of the way, we can now get to the cylinder bolts. So right here we have 2 on this side and 2 on the other. They're just a 10 millimeter. And we're just going to get an open end wrench in this one here. We're going to crack it loose. And then this one, you can usually use the box end on it. Crack this one loose. And then we're gonna go to the other side and we'll crack those loose. So what we're gonna do first is we gotta get this power valve arm out of the way, and I got a pick tool. So we're gonna pull this little clip off of here, and I'll explain it more in a minute. And you don't wanna let this fall down into your clutch side, because then you're gonna go fishing for it, because it can fall down in this hole right here. So I've got my hand under it, and I don't wanna cut my finger, because I'm pretty good at that. So you can see that clip just bounced there. And this is what we just removed, is this guy right here. And I'm gonna set it down in the power valve cover. And then now I can just pull out on this. It should come apart. And now I can get this gasket out of here. This is all pretty much brand new stuff. We can save it if we ever put this 85 kit back on it. So now we get to the cylinder bolts on this side. Again, just a 10 millimeter. I'm gonna crack them loose. And this one, you kinda gotta dig for it a little bit. Kinda hidden behind all this stuff. You can take this off for momentarily. That will go back on at the end here. Look at that, our first traces of dirt on Braxton's bike. And this end, we're gonna have to have the open end in there again. Hopefully we can get enough. Yep, perfect. It's amazing, actually. So now that they're all loose, we can pretty much just work our way around, and we're gonna pull these bolts out. Okay, so now everything is loose in the bottom, and I'm gonna just kind of hit it with my hand. I haven't tried yet, just to kind of break the seal on the base gasket here. So, oh, that was easy. This bike's been really good to us so far. So we're just gonna rock this straight up. That gasket's like still brand new. What I'm gonna do, so now we can see our pistons up pretty far. I'm gonna turn the bike over, zoom out a little bit so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm gonna turn it just over just a little bit, try to get the cylinder down, or the piston down in the stroke. I'm gonna pull straight up on this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep this base gasket with it, not to reuse it, but so that way whenever we go to put this back on the bike, we know how thick of a base gasket to put in it, because that decking tool is for 105s only. So we're gonna keep this handy. And let's look up in here real quick. Brand new, buddy. So we're gonna save all this so we can put it all back together whenever we need to turn it to 85 again. If you can look in there, I got a pick tool. They give you a nice little slot right here that you can work your pick tool. Oh, look at you. Nice. You can work your pick tool in, and I've got a bad angle because I'm trying to let the camera have the good angle. And I'm working it straight down. Can you see what we're doing here? Okay, cool. And I'm going to keep my finger here now, because I'm going to keep it from exploding out so it doesn't go pinging across the room. And right there, it's out now. So all I'm going to do is grab it with my other hand And now this is out. Now I'm not going to reuse this. I will order a new one of these when I put it back together. So a lot of the times they make like a piston pin pusher, but I've always just used my hands. So I'm using a socket and I'm pushing on the pin here. So I'm going to pull it straight up. And again, I can reuse all this. It's got 2 hours on it. So I'm going to leave that clip in this side. We do not need to remove that. This is our needle bearing. This is going to come out. We'll save it. I usually don't reuse. I'll never reuse it, but I'm just going to keep it with the bike. I'll kind of mess with this later. But okay, this is pretty much disassembly. Okay, what we're going to do first is check our timing. And you can see down in here, there's our power valve. And this is our set screw to adjust this. So down in here, if you see in there, you can see that this arm rests against that. And so we're going to take this, and I'm holding down on the power valve. I'm going to make sure it's all the way closed, down. Oops, show you guys down. So down here, and I'm going to put this tool in here. And look at that, it's like perfect. So like there's no free play. What I'm checking for right now is up and down movement. Like I can't pull the tool away from it. So it's down. So for example, if this was like this, that's not good. We have to adjust that set screw, but it's all the way down and it's good. You know what, Braxton, I've never checked your other one. So let's check. Maybe if I go like this, grab the ball joint with this pick tool. I'm just curious because I've never adjusted it. So I'm trying to hold it down, which I am.
I'm going.
No, perfect. Okay, check that out. Okay, cool. We had your other 105 was good, which is exciting. So now that that's checked, what we're going to do is we're going to install the piston on the bike first. So we're going to get our needle bearing out of here, and we're going to soak all this stuff in 2-stroke oil. So on this, we want to make sure that the clip is either up or down on here. We can't have it on the side. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to, come on over here, Bex. We're going to install. It's always easier to install at least one clip on the desk rather than trying to stand over the bike and do it. So this is our forward position on the piston. And when I'm over there, I'm going to push it through the same way that we just filmed. So I'm going to start with a clip in this side. So I'm going to install this clip first. All right, guys, we got the piston sitting there. Throw some oil on the needle bearing. Nice and lubed up. And then now I got the wrist pin down here. And we're going to lube this thing up pretty good. And this piston, the arrow points toward the exhaust, and this is a 51.95, if you guys can read that. For us dads at home, that means a lot later. And we'll run this through here one time. Put all the oil in there, it's all nice and lubed up. So now I'm gonna get down a little bit. We're gonna center this. Here we go. And then all the way in. And now we're gonna install the circlip on the outside here. So before we put the ring on the piston, we just wanna make sure there's a ring end gap on the end of this ring here when it's in the cylinder. So what we're going to do, I'm going to slide it down in here. And you always use a piston to center this. So since I've already got the other piston on the bike, I'm going to grab this one. And actually, since this is the Vertex and it gives us some information, I'll show you exactly what I mean here. So right here on a 2-stroke engine, there's our ring end gap that they want us to have. Let's see. Dirt right there. So that's what we're looking for our ring end gap is that. And I'm just going to use this piston right here. I'm going to push it down in about 1 inch. And you can see out that orange towel. Let me try to get it down more. Perfect. You see that gap right there? We're good on this one. This one's perfect. So normally if this gap was closed off, we'd have to file this down. So there's a name, because this is going to expand. We want to make sure that when it does expand, it's got a gap there, so that's a perfect view of that. Then we can go install this on the piston. When we're installing the rings, we always want to make sure that we put the end up. So if you can see right there in that corner, it's got the end. That's going to go in the up position. And on the back of the piston here is where the ends should meet. The end of the, come on, zoom right in there. We're actually zoom in on that really good. See that little tab right there? That's where the end of this needs to meet at the end when we pinch it together to slide the cylinder on. We're just going to kind of start there and just kind of work our way around, slide it in. You don't want to like pull the whole thing apart and expand it. We don't want to make that expand any more than it has to. So in a minute we're going to pinch that together just like that and slide the cylinder down on top of it. So what we're going to do now is clean our base gasket up before we put the new one on. So this is the old that's still stuck here. I always start with a brand new razor blade. This one we just pulled out of the toolbox. I'm just going to scrape this clean. You got to be really careful, kind of have like a good angle on it. You don't want to hurt it. And so we're going to scrape this down. You don't want any of this to fall down into here. So we're going to plug all this up and then we're going to scrape this down. So what I'm going to do in here is I'm using the old cylinder. It's base gasket. It's super thick. I need a starting point because now we're gonna use our decking tool somewhere here to actually measure when we put this together. So I have to choose the base gasket. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to choose, this feels pretty thick. And I'm just going off as 24 motor, and I'm assuming these part numbers is like 0.2 or like 20, 25, 40, and then 50. I don't think it's the thickest. I don't think they would do that. I'm going to start with like the this one, the 4, 5040. I'm just going to cut this thing open. Okay, I'm really happy with how clean we got the cases. Everything came right off nicely. And we're going to get our paper towel out of the way now. And even though we didn't rebuild the crank, I always put a little bit of oil down in here too though. I'm always kind of doing that. Just a little bit on the bearings on both sides. And a little bit right in the middle on the connecting rod bearing down there. So I like to get a little bit of oil down in there. And what we're going to do first is we're going to set our base gasket on here. And you can kind of see that it's going to go, let's see how they want this. They want it to go just like this because we have the hole here. It's going to line up there. And so we're going to set it down. Again, this might be too thin. Now that I'm playing with it, it might not be thick enough, but we're going to try it. So base gasket's sitting there nicely. And we're going to kind of coat this piston a little bit. So now I've got our cylinder over here ready to go. And the bore of the crosshatch is really nice. They've already honed this at the factory, obviously. Use probably like a diamond hone is what they use in there. So the crosshatch is beautiful in there. Excited for Braxton here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour some oil on here. And this oil is super thin, so it's pretty runny. So I'm just going to coat everything in oil. So I don't care if it smokes more. We do have a spare spark plug now. So we're good. So it's just coated pretty good on the inside of there. It's all oiled up. And I'm going to oil the piston as well, but I don't really want to get on the base gasket. So we're going to be kind of careful when we do this. Maybe center it up here more. That's a bunch of oil that just went down in there. That's okay. So we're oiling everything really good. Oil the okay, everything's nice and oiled up, so we're going to go ahead and install the cylinder now. So I'm going to pinch the rings, or the ring, pretty hard, try to get this to pinch together, get it centered on the tab on the back there. Hopefully you guys can see this, I apologize. And then we're going to slide this down on top of the piston here. So hopefully my fingers are kind of oily at this point. So now you can kind of see, let's pause here, come on in Braxton so you can see it. So our ring is nice and pinched, it's centered in the back. And we're just going to slide it down on here, center it. And what we're going to do is we're going to put all 4 of our bolts on the cylinder. We're going to tighten it down, then we're going to check our deck. We're going to get the piston the top dead center. So you notice it's a completely different, you'll notice it's a completely different design between like the 85 and the 105. This is, I think, what I've learned is like their older engine design. So it's like power valve's much simpler. So you're not taking like a power valve cover off on this side to get to the lower bolts there. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to take these like in a crisscross pattern. I'm going to kind of, I'm not putting a lot. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do it a bunch of times to get it to suck down evenly. All right, guys, we're going to check this. We haven't tried yet. We're going to set it on here. And holy smokes, dude. That's perfect. Check that out. So the tool is not getting pushed up off the top of the motor there. It's kind of hard to tell because I'm maybe a little more of an angle, like right here. It's perfect. Let's rotate this and see if it truly is a top deck. So we haven't even tried that yet. Okay, it's already going back down. Oh, it just picked the tool up off the top, which isn't good. So when, you know, just us assembling it right here, see how I just picked the tool up right here? That's not good. So we need to have a thicker base gasket down here. So that's a lot. That's a lot thicker, which we don't have. And so we might have to stack 2 base gaskets together. If we look at that 85, come on over here real quick. Yeah, look at that. They're already stacking them stock from the factory. So they had 2 thick going here as well. So we're gonna have to stack a couple of them as well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add the thickest one to go with the second thickest one. So, cause that really picked that tulip off of there. So I'm gonna rock this off here. All right guys, so we've got two thickest in here so far. Let's see what happens. Oh, I've touched it, shoot. Hold on, let me go back down. That's pretty darn good. I'm pretty happy with that. So, shoot, you can see some daylight from your angle, but it's really hard to, oh shoot, I missed it again. Okay, I gotta go really slow with it. It's really hard to go slow. Because once it gets to the top, it just wants to ping back down. Right there. So, gosh, it's hard to tell from your angle, but that's right there. Okay, I'm really happy with that. So, we've got the two thickest gaskets. You can see them squished down here, but I'll show that real quick. We got the two thickest gaskets in that, so I'm pretty pumped. I think we're good. I'm gonna double check these bolts just one more time to make sure we're good. Get our power valve cover going here. I'm gonna grab the gasket out of the box there. And I gotta put this in there behind. So I think this is the direction. It's gonna go just like that. And then I need this little spacer. Now, I'm not really in love with these from KTM. They kind of like, seem like they're not like a super tight fit. I'm gonna put some grease around this real quick. Sneak it on top of this, down around, down into its hole there. And it's gonna end up parking like right about there. That's our dog in the background. She wants to play. And next is gonna be this clip. So what we're gonna do is get that ball back on there, the ball socket, put that on. And this gasket's not critical yet that it's positioned right. But now we gotta sneak underneath of here, rock this up in. And you come up on the top view a little bit more so you can look down, Brax, so I can show what's going on. I'm looking for that hole in the back side there. Okay, there's that hole. I'm gonna push it straight up and in. You can see it coming out the front, and now I'm gonna rotate it this way. So now it's locked on. And we're gonna use the bolts that we took out, the T25s, to slide this back on. And I'm gonna put some grease in this side as well. That way we have a seal here as well. Yeah. One goes there, and then one goes here. And then one goes on this side. All right, so ready for the O-rings. I always like to put a little bit of grease on here, so I'm smearing grease around them. And the green one is the outer one. We'll lay it right in its track there. Lays in there nicely. Now sometimes, if these O-rings are too big, you can put them in the freezer a little bit, and it'll help shrink them right before you stick them in. It's kind of like crank bearings. So check that out. So those laid in nice, and now we've got the new cylinder head. Right here, it's a two-piece. There's the dome that goes inside of it. Get my greasy fingers out of there. I'm gonna grab a rag, we'll clean this up, and then we'll get it set on top of there. What we're gonna do next is we're gonna install the gasket on the inside of the dome there. So there's that, and then we're gonna stick this in here. What I like to do when I'm installing these is, because the dome will fall out, I like to take the spark plug and screw it in, and I use this to hold up on it. So now we've got our centering pins here toward the back. What I like to do is I like to hold it up. So come on down flat, Braxton. So, okay, so now we know our centering pins. Now keep in mind, I'm pulling up on the spark plug. So our centering pins are started. I like to get a couple of these started all the way around. So I know just one on each side, I guess. It's hard to do with the camera on there, but one on each side. I'm just doing this really quick. I like to have them centered, and then now I'll push straight down on it. So that way we know O-rings didn't slide around. That's what the centering pins are for. But you really have to hold up on the spark plug, hold up on the center so everything kind of meets at once. So we're going to tighten all of these down. And then keep in mind, this one in the back that's raised is not a cylinder head bolt. That's our coolant high spot in the cylinder. So we have to make sure this is like our bleed screw. That's what I was looking for. So we'll get these tightened down first. Okay, got all the head bolts tight. They went nice. And what we're going to do now is put our coolant line in. This is our only coolant hose that we took off. So we're going to snap this on. We'll tighten the clamps down. So just kind of lined up everything. Make sure everything is down on top of the fittings as far as they'll go. This hose clamp turned on me, so it's kind of making that one bulge a little weird. There we go. Okay, so now we're just going to tighten these down. So I'm going to set the bleed screw in there, and I'm just going to tighten it down by finger, like down just a little ways. We're going to flush this one time with engine ice. So obviously these systems, like there's always low points, and I just want to get all of the pink stuff out of there. So I'm going to put some engine ice in, back out a little bit. We're going to put some engine ice in up here, fill it a little bit, and then we're going to bleed it one time. I'm not going to film any of that, but we're going to bleed it once, get some of it out so it's like the mixed stuff. Then I know I have pure engine ice in this thing. Then we're going to top the coolant off. Okay, so we got the coolant filled. It's pretty much right at the bottom of the neck right here. And we have not cracked this yet to see. So come on in, Brax, let's see. Let's show this bleed screw again. Ooh, okay, it is by finger. I was going to say maybe it was a little bit tighter than that. So I'm just going to like crack this open until we see like a steady stream of coolant. So come on in closely. We can get a good view if you want to zoom in if you need to. That copper crush washer has to stay in there right there. See that coolant? And I did that on purpose because I don't know if you guys heard or saw the bubble that came out, but that was important. We wanted to make sure there was a bubble in there that we got it out. So even though we made a little bit of a mess, you know, on the cylinder, it's okay. And we don't need to kill this screw. Just a little 8mm. So, all right, there's that. That is bleeding it. The next thing we're gonna do, and real quick, I put the power valve breather tube back on a second ago too. I didn't want coolant to fall down in there. So next thing we're gonna do is put our engine mounts back on this thing. Okay, we got coolant in, motor mounts are on, everything's back together except spark plugs. That's why we're gonna do the compression test right now. And then I don't have the electrical stuff. I thought maybe a little more room right here. So come on out, Brax, hop up there. Okay, go ahead, buddy. One more time. Again.
Wait, stop.
Yeah, throttle it. Yep, go ahead. One more time. Okay, stop. So it's pretty darn similar. Look at that. It's like right up below 120. So that's our base, is like 120 for this motor with this tool, with this setup. So now what we're going to do is we're going to throw the spark plug back in and we're going to wrap up the wiring right here. And then we'll show you guys the ECU. We'll get that swapped out. We're going to put this little electrical connector thing back in. It kind of hooks on the tank rails there, or the tank supports. And then it clips up into the frame right here with this little tab. Oh, cool. I actually made a noise. I was like, well, I don't know if you hear it or not. So that's all clipped in. And now we usually run a zip tie. That's what this little channel's for. I'm going to run a zip tie around that to make sure that doesn't fall down, because actually whenever we took the gas tank off the first time, that was just kind of flopping down. So they didn't have a zip tie from the factory. We're going to add a zip tie ourselves. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to change the ECU out. I'm not sure. It looks like it pushes down on this tab here. Kind of like wraps around it a little bit. And let's see, let's unplug this one. And there's 0 dielectric grease on that thing from the factory. So if you guys have a new bike, we are such a fan of dielectric grease. Oh, I need the little rubber housing on the outside. We got to save that. We're going to smear some here. It's kind of going, I'll show you more in a second. I just kind of like blotch it around a little bit. And then I will take my fingers, I'll kind of smear it around. That way every pin is coated with dielectric grease. Wipe off the extra inside of here. And we will reconnect this connector. You heard it click, I hope. So there's that. All right, guys, so what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna put a little bit of a clip in here on what we're doing on the carburetor. So the 2025 has way different settings than the 2024 did. And I just found the actual 105 kit manual on the GasGas website. And we're gonna do a 55 idle jet or pilot jet, sorry if it doesn't zoom in very well. We're gonna do a 142 main jet. And then this is the, I just had it, it's NRJD needle. It came in the kit. So this is what we're gonna put into Braxton's carburetor right here. And I just wanted to show that because earlier in the video we did mention I was gonna run the same jetting from his 24 stuff, but year from year, 24 to 25, they changed a lot of the stock jetting, so we don't wanna do that. So this is what we're gonna put in it. Thought I would throw that in there real quick at the end here. So we're gonna also do here at the end of the video is we're gonna remove the inner power valve spring. According to the instructions on the website, there is a spring behind here. or 2. And we're going to remove the center spring. So there goes one bolt. Here goes the second. There might be pressure on it because the springs are pushing out. So I'm going to keep my hand there so I can unscrew the bolt. And I think the threads are about out. So, and it's a 6 mil, by the way. It's a shorter bolt. Oops, I was trying to show you that. Okay, shorter. And inside of here, I think we're gonna see 2 springs. So, yeah. So they want us to remove that center one, that small one inside of there. So I'm gonna grab a pick tool. Let's go over to the counter. So I'm gonna take this tool and pop that center out right here. We're gonna pop this spring out and we're gonna keep it when we put the 85 kit back in. So that snaps off. This goes back in. And you can see that this has a groove in it. And I'll show you the power valve arm on the inside. It's gonna sit right in that groove there. So let's go back over to the bike. Okay, you can see inside that we zoomed way in. There's that power valve arm in there. And we're gonna put this inside of there and make sure it sits on it. So I'm just kind of taking your view, sorry. Okay, I can feel, yep, it's on it. It's in there. So it's all the way in. I'm gonna now take this arm, put pressure against it. I know the spring didn't fall out, so we're good. And I'm gonna push in on this. And Braxton likes to mess with this power valve. You can adjust this externally to put more or less pressure on the spring. More pressure on the spring means the power valve opens later because we're forcing it closed longer. So we're just gonna simply put this back together and then we're gonna go outside and start this thing. All right guys, let's put gas in this thing for the first time. So we brought her outside. What's funny is how low the fuel, we're gonna have to test on how low you can run this. The way that the fuel goes up and over the frame bar, you know?
Yeah.
I don't show what I'm talking about down here. Like this IMS gas tank, the fuel line goes up, 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 and then back down on the carb on the other side. So like, that's probably enough gas because it's above it, but with it being a clear fuel line too, we should be able to see it soon as I open it. Yeah, there it goes. Okay, we got gas in it. I think everything's tight. Let's give it a try here. Let's see. How many kicks, Braxton?
3.
Yeah, maybe more because the
Yeah.
carb is empty.
Yeah, somehow. Thank
Sounds like ready to go.
you. Yeah.
Look at that idling already, dude. You're idling perfect.
Yeah.
It's got, come on in there. It's
Yeah.
got all of the stock settings for the 105 kit. So all the jetting for our elevation, this temperature, this is what we got it set as. Idling, perfect. Not a lot of extra smoke either. Sounds good.
Yeah, it does.
I don't want to rev it up too high yet. I'm going to check the coolant in a minute.